Hello everyone, it's Friday, November 1st. Let's talk PlayStation. I want to thank everybody from last week for convincing me to get a new HD TV. I totally had to do it. I couldn't even help myself. I don't even know why I asked you guys. I knew I was going to get one. So I did. I ain't got the kind of money for a 4K television. In fact, I'm on a budget here. So I got a 40-inch Sony Bravia that was actually super cheap on eBay. Still brand new, which is actually pretty cool. Unfortunately for me, my last TV was made in 2006, and of course this TV was made in 2013. The screws in the back are not the same size that I need to actually mount the TV onto my stand, so as of right now, he's a little bit lower than he should be. And I gotta wait till Monday to get the right screws to come in so I can mount it, and then I can be blah, 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 blah. So he's a little bit lower, and I gotta deal with that for now. But of course, that's pretty unimportant. Oh, and hey, happy late Halloween. Halloween was yesterday, so go on out there and buy some heavily discounted Halloween products. But that's a lot of useless information, so let's go into some news stories. I want to start off with a news story where I'm going to totally own up to this. I was wrong. So if you didn't already know, this week EA has confirmed that Titanfall will never come to PlayStation. That is an Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC exclusive for its lifetime. The reason why I'm saying I was wrong is because I made a Let's Talk PlayStation episode basically saying, like, yeah, that game's gonna come to PS4 eventually. In fact, I think I said, let's roll a clip or something, play. And I'm sure a majority of people know this. It's going to happen. Titanfall is going to come to PlayStation. Without a doubt, it is going to happen. It's just a timed exclusive. That is 100% what it is. I would put very good money on Titanfall coming to PS4, and if it didn't come to PS4, I'd be extremely surprised. I definitely would be. Okay, so as you can see, I was fairly confident in my opinion. One of the reasons why I started making YouTube videos is because I felt I know this industry and I'm knowledgeable on the topic, and I can sort of, put my opinions out there and they can be somewhat valid and respected, kind of. What am I saying? Point being, I was very confident in my opinion, and I was wrong. Now, in my defense, and I do have a very good defense, mind you, basically when that video was made back in August, and pretty much everyone else said the same thing I did, I pretty much was still right back in that time. Apparently Titanfall was in fact definitely a timed exclusive back then, and it definitely was going to come to PS4 at some point. My number one reasoning back then in that video was that, body language. EA wasn't saying it, Respawn wasn't saying it, no one could say that the game wasn't coming to PS4, no one could say that the game was exclusive, because back then it definitely was not exclusive. And EA, four something months later, is now confirming it's exclusive because they have just now secured a deal with Microsoft. And apparently Respawn didn't even know about it. Vince Zampella of Respawn Entertainment basically sent out a couple of tweets in regards to the situation and said, yes, it was always Microsoft exclusive at launch, but they just now discovered that the game is now, completely exclusive to those platforms, and that he's even responding to some people's questions saying, like, yes, we will make PlayStation 4 games eventually. And when someone said, is it the Titanfall series or just Titanfall 1? It is just Titanfall 1, which means a sequel to Titanfall is absolutely up for possibility of being on PS4. So in my defense, I believe I was pretty much kind of right back then, at least, because that's when EA or Respawn couldn't say anything, because it was definitely Microsoft exclusive at launch, meaning timed exclusive, and now, fast forward, now, yes, they secured a deal, and now it's not coming to PlayStation. Oh, well, that's the nature of the business. The game's getting a lot of good, positive press, so Microsoft obviously wanted to secure that game completely, and, good for them, because, as I've said before, this promotes competition, and competition is definitely a good thing, because it keeps Sony on their toes, it keeps Microsoft on their toes, and that's kind of how this whole, market and business 101, all that good stuff, right? That's how that stuff works. This stuff's going to happen. But so I was wrong. I was kind of right at the time, but I'm wrong. So one very interesting thing that came out this week is PS4's Day 1 patch. So basically, when you buy your PS4 on Day 1, you do have a patch to download. It's version 1.50. And this thing actually has some very key features of the system. Sony posted on the PlayStation blog that firmware version 1.50 patches in support for remote play, second screen experiences, recording your gameplay, broadcasting and spectating your gameplay, play as you download, multiple logins, party voice chat, facial recognition, voice commands, the background music player, online multiplayer, Blu-ray and DVD functionality, pretty much everything that the PS4 is kind of built around, centered around, and sort of the features that the system was, you know, being boasted about. Like, these features aren't going to be in the system unless you download a day one patch. Which, you know, is kind of fine, obviously. If you download the day one patch, which is the first day you get your PS4, you're going to get all the features that Sony's been telling you about. But it kind of begs the question as to why it's not in the system, you know, right off the bat. Why is there a patch in the system? And I do find it very interesting that they're not right there, ready to go, you know, right off day one. My only guess and my sort of inclination as to why there has to be a day one patch is that, you know, they were shipping SDKs to developers with version 1.0, and then like it just got to a point where everyone was working with 1.0. Once all these features were ready, it's just to the point where they started manufacturing boxes with 1.0 on it. So they just, I don't know. So they got to send out 1.50. The more interesting thing about this is some of the features they're leaving out. One thing we knew for sure is that like the headset support and all that, support for their own wireless headsets, that's not going to be ready for launch. One interesting thing is suspend and resume is not going to be available at launch. So suspend and resume being you can suspend your game, let your PS4 be in a low powered state, and then you can turn your PS4 back on and the game's right back where it was. That's not going to be available at launch. One thing a lot of people are wondering is like, well, whoa, hold on, day one patch, can I still play games offline? Can I download this patch in the background? Yes and yes. So basically, when you get your PS4 day one, you can download this patch while you're playing a game. You can play games without this patch. They're not removing DRM or anything, because some people think that, and there was like a video that went up on YouTube this week where someone had sources claiming that was the case. Sony's removing DRM from the system. They never had DRM. You can play games on your PS4 just fine. And you can download this patch while it's, you know, in the background and everything, so it's all good and whatnot. But yes, PS4 day one is a 300 MB patch, not that big, so you can even download it to a thumb drive and stick it into your PS4 and update it from there if you want it to not download it or whatever, download it ahead of time. But there you go. PS4 day one patch. Again, like, it's odd that these things weren't put right into the thing, like, on day one, but I think the reason why is they manufactured the system with 1.0, So arguably, the biggest news story of this week was the ultimate PS4 fact that was posted on the PlayStation blog this past week. So basically, Sony answered 160 plus questions about the PS4, giving us more insight and detail into what we're going to get come November 15th. And for the most part, generally, there was a lot of bad answers inside of it. I'm not obviously going to repeat every single one of them. They answer a lot of dumb questions in there that kind of are just filler questions, and some obvious ones like, yes, PS4 supports used games. Yes, you can play Blu-ray movies on it, stuff like that. But I picked out some of the more interesting ones. I do have a little cheat sheet, so I'll read them out. I don't know how I'm going to edit this. Maybe I'll put over text or something along with my reading or whatnot. But I picked out some more interesting facts that we now know about the PS4 that are, you know, possibly not that great. And again, some of the stuff we already know, like some people were contacting me about some of these, and I was telling them, like, we actually knew this a long time ago, but it's just in the PS4 fact. Like, will users be able to connect an external hard drive to expand storage in the PS4? No, this feature is not supported on the PS4. We knew that a long time ago, actually. It still sucks, right? It still sucks that they're still saying no, but yeah, we knew that already. But some interesting PS4 facts. Do I need to reset my video settings if I change TVs as on the PS3? And the answer is this process will not be necessary on the PS4. That's due to the PS4 being HDMI only, so that's good news. Will PS4 support any 3D content, including stereoscopic 3D games? Technically, the PS4 supports 3D gameplay at launch in North America, though no launch titles are currently 3D compatible, and we probably never will see any 3D games. I highly doubt we'll see many of them at this point. I mean, that's kind of tapering off the support for that sort of medium. When playing disc-based games on the PS4, do I need to install data to the hard drive? Yes, all PS4 Blu-ray disc games must be cached to the hard drive to ensure a smooth gaming experience. However, certain titles may not require you to wait for the game data to be fully cached before starting gameplay, which is Sony's whole play now, you know, patches and everything's done in the background with that secondary chip. So that's obviously good news. We want to start playing our games right away and have everything that we don't want to happen be done in the background. If I rent a game disc and then decide I want to buy it digitally, can I use the mandatory install to avoid downloading it and just activate my license? No, in this example, you would have to delete the disc install data and fully install the digital version of your game, and that would obviously make sense. The install is different from the actual digital version of the game, so that would all add up. Will I be able to watch Blu-ray movies on my PS4? Yes, but you need to download System Software Update 1.50 and then activate your Blu-ray disc video compatibility with a one-time activation through the internet in order to play Blu-ray disc films and DVD video content, which is interesting because basically that is saying like, hey, you do need to do a one-time internet authentication if you do want to watch movies. Like games are fine, like there's no any sort of blockage there. You can play those offline day one, but movies you definitely need to connect. What if I'm not able to connect my PS4 system online? PS4 owners in North America can contact SCEA Consumer Services at blah 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 to request a Blu-ray activation disc that will be distributed via mail, which is certainly odd that they're putting so much emphasis on activating for Blu-rays. But can I listen to audio CDs using the PS4? No, PS4 does not support audio CDs. We knew that a very long time ago. Does PS4 feature a standby mode? Yes, PS4 standby mode deactivates its primary functions to reduce energy usage. Though it still may be able to it still charges DualShock 4 wireless controllers and downloads system updates in its power saving state. This kind of basically says like, hey, you know, like when your PS3 is in standby mode, it can't do anything. And if it wants to download game patches, like it has to beep alive and then it has to do that from there. PS4, for example, when it's off, it's still doing stuff. Like, it doesn't need to be turned back on to download patches or anything. It can do that in that state, which is cool. What PS4 software features have been announced but won't be available at launch in North America? Share a controller via the internet to assist a friend, so that's where you can, like, be at home and your friend in Nova Scotia wants help, so you take over the game for them. They demoed that back in February. Suspend and resume, which we talked about, and then the wireless stereo headset support. In most headset supports, again, we already kind of covered that. Is there a way to rename my online ID on PS4? No, but PS4 does give you the option of allowing friends to use your real name in addition to your online ID. You can also import your Facebook photo to use as your PSN profile picture if you wish. Again, bummer. We've already talked about this. Like, Sony, for some reason, just does not want to give you this option. They don't even want to give you a charged fee for it. Again, trust me, this is something dumb. I feel like they definitely should change that, but sucks. Again, going into interesting and bad news. Does PS4 offer sub-accounts? How do they work? Yes, they work exactly as they did on the PS3. And going into the next question, can my child's PS3 sub-account be changed to a master account on PS4 once they're past the age of 18? Unfortunately, no. In this case, we would advise you creating a new master account. We apologize for the inconvenience. That's a total bummer. That's retarded. Like, come on, Sony, let's get that going here. I know a lot of people, like, they have this issue, right? A lot of people have sub-accounts. They can't do anything with them. They can't update them. And it really is stupid that they're not changing that at all whatsoever as well. That's, again, not great news. This one's interesting. I think we already knew this one as well, but just to reiterate it, PS4's graphical user interface. Does the PS4's graphical user interface have a name like the PS3 system's cross-media bar? The PS4's GUI is called PlayStation Dynamic Menu, or I'm going to shorten it to PDM. So when you say, hey, my PS3's XMB, you say, hey, PS4's PDM, I guess. PlayStation Dynamic Menu. Will PS4 support custom dynamic themes as currently available on the PS3 system? No, PS4 does not support dynamic themes as they currently exist on the PS3 system. And Shuhei Yoshida has also confirmed custom wallpapers are not supported as well. So basically, no, you can't change the wallpaper at all on this gosh darn thing, which again is kind of like a huge bummer, especially since they really pioneered that on PS3. In fact, PS3 didn't even start with charged themes and, you know, a PlayStation Store that sold you themes. It started with an SDK where you could make your own gosh darn themes, and people could make all sorts of cool custom themes from it. And then they sold some after. So it's really kind of odd that they're taking a step backward in this approach, but they take even more steps backwards. Hold on. Well, here's one step forward. Will I be able to filter system and friend notifications in order to avoid being disturbed while playing a game or watching a movie? Compared to the PS3, you'll have much more control over displayed notifications, including messages, friend requests, trophies, download statuses, and more. So I'm assuming you can tick off what you want to hear from and what you don't want to hear from, which is great. On PS3, it's only turn off every notification or turn them on. So it's great that there's some more customization there. Will PS4 support media server or DLNA support in order to stream videos or movies from a home PC? The PS4 system does not support this at all. That is a huge bummer. A lot of people are pissed about that. I have never used that, so this doesn't really bother me that much. But I know a lot of people, use that. So it's really dumb that they're not doing that. However, and we'll get to this in the end, they are now obviously considering that since everyone's getting so uppity about it. Will any PS4 titles use an online pass? First-party titles on PS4 developed by Sony Computer Entertainment will not use an online pass program. When it comes to third parties, PlayStation won't dictate the strategy of publishers concerning online pass programs. However, most third parties have phased out the use of these systems, so they're unlikely to appear on PS4. And this is true. EA has done away with online passes. Ubisoft has just recently confirmed they're doing away with it as well. So it's nice to see that Sony's first party's getting rid of it. So those are all going away. Can I continue playing on a PS4 while a game patch is being auto-detected, downloaded, and installed? Basically, the answer to that is yes. So when you're playing a game and you have to download a patch, it does that. But you might, in order to actually install the patch or use the online features of that game, that would be disabled until you quit the game and then actually install the patch. But it will download in the background. What is the DualShock 4 wireless controller's battery life? DualShock 4's battery life is similar to that of the DualShock 3. So not incredibly long, but long enough. Can PS4 users send voice messages to each other? And the answer to that is yes. Basically, up to 15 seconds long, people can send to each other. Again, I think we knew that already, but cool that we've got it, right? So now we're getting into the topic of remote play, and obviously, I had a feeling Sony would word it this way because they're obviously trying to cover their asses if it doesn't work. But when will remote play work best? Remote play will work best when the PS Vita system is located within the same Wi-Fi network where the PS4 is connected. We also recommend that PS4 be connected to the local area network via an Ethernet cable, that a router suitable for gaming be used, and that the PS Vita system be within close proximity of the Wi-Fi access point so that the connection is free of interference. And this is, of course, they're advising people to have the best connection, obviously, so that people don't bitch and moan when it doesn't work. But, that obviously makes sense. They're going to advise you to use the best way possible. But can remote play work outside the user's home network? We strongly recommend that remote play be used within the same Wi-Fi network where PS4 is connected. Remote play may or may not work over a wide area network. For remote play to function over a wide area network, a robust and stable Wi-Fi connection and broadband internet connection is required, and the local area network where PS4 is connected must be configured to permit the PS Vita system to access the PS4. So, again, they're basically not promising you long-distance remote play at all. It will obviously work. You can remote start PS Vita to PS4 and everything. Like, that'll all work fine and dandy, but they're pretty much confirming that there may be latency issues there, which I think a lot of people certainly expected. If I'm not a PlayStation Plus member, but I log into a PS4 system owned by a PS Plus member, will I be able to play online multiplayer? Yes, if you don't have a PS Plus membership, you can still access online multiplayer modes if you log into a PS4, which is set as a primary by a PS Plus member. So that's good. You don't have a PS Plus, you go to a friend's house, log in, you can play online. Now here's the scenario that pissed me off the most, and it pissed a lot of people off. Will I be able to play background music while I play PS4 games? Why, yes. You can use Sony's Music Unlimited service, music streaming service, so you can listen to music in the background. And I'm like, okay. So they're not like saying like music for sure, like music I saved on the hard drive. But then, whoa, hold on here. We get into more. Does PS4 include a music visualizer feature? No. Fine. I don't need to look at pretty trippy colors and shit. But will I be able to play MP3s on the PS4? No. PS4 does not support MP3s. I can't put MP3 files on my PlayStation 4. So this was a huge thing. Everyone was freaking out about this one as well. And the reason why, and this is totally like a fair thing to be pissed about as a consumer. The number one thing we haven't had on PS3 for the longest time is custom soundtracks and background music playing. Like, we have it, but it was a developer by developer basis. Sony's basically saying now, like, yeah, it's there, but you can use our Music Unlimited service. Gosh darn it, Sony. You're forcing your consumers to jump into your Music Unlimited service. How would you? Come on, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. You're not gonna put MP3 playback into your fucking PlayStation 4, which is supposed to be a media hub center of your living room. Really? I mean, it's quite obviously they took out MP3 and they're saying, hey, use Music Unlimited. That's obviously what happened there. You know, you'd be a fool to not think that's what's going on here. But and then now Shuhei Yoshida is sent out a couple of update tweets basically saying that he talked to the PS4 dev team in regards to PC streaming and MP3 playback, and basically Sony's now saying Sony representatives are now saying that this will possibly come in the next firmware update past 1.50. So good. You better learn your lesson from that one. I just got an email. You better learn your lesson from that one. That's ridiculous. No MP3 playback. Come on, man. And then the whole big thing about like gameplay recording, right? Their whole share functionality. The problem with this thing, the problem with all the answers for this one is they keep saying, yeah, you can use Twitch, you can use Ustream, you can use Facebook. And they keep saying Facebook. Like, fucking gamers are going to upload their footage to Facebook. No one's going to do that. But they're not saying YouTube at all, which is really frustrating because YouTube is obviously the #1 video sharing website. That's what we're on right now. So it's dumb that they're not answering that at all and they're not acknowledging YouTube whatsoever. But the next one's even more ridiculous. Can users copy the recorded gameplay video from PS4 to other devices such as a PC? PS4 users will not be able to directly copy recorded gameplay video files from PS4 to other devices, though they will be able to use DualShock 4's share button and upload it to Facebook, because people want to do that. Nobody wants to do that, dude. Who the hell no one's going to use Facebook. Why? Here's the big problem. The big problem is they're taking YouTube out of this whole equation, right? YouTube is nowhere to be seen in this. YouTube is the #1 sharing website, you know, ever for videos and all that, blah, blah, you know, all that jazz. I just kind of picked my nose. Point being, what the hell? Why is YouTube not in this? This support, you know, this support can be there, but it's not there. And now you can't move the files at all. Like, it's locked into the hardware. Like, this sucks. This is bogus. I mean, the whole good thing to this and the whole silver lining to this is that they're going to patch the PS4 so that you can, you know, capture footage through the HDMI, which would mean that, you know, you would have your own files offset to the computer, you'd have your, you know, no limit to the recording, no limit to the resolution and all that, which I think most people will want to do. But if you want to pioneer this whole sharing aspect, why are you taking YouTube out of the equation? It's the #1 video sharing website. Why the hell are you taking that out of the equation? So there's a lot of missteps with Sony. Like the MP3 thing, the no streaming thing, the sub accounts is still ridiculous. The not name changing thing's ridiculous. The MP3 thing's just absurd. Like, it kind of still shows that while Sony has taken a lot of right directions with the PS4, and they've definitely done a lot of fantastic things with the hardware, they're still Sony, and they still do dumb-ass decisions like these. On the flip side, it's good that they hear people a lot faster this time. Shuhei Yoshida already responded saying, like, we hear you, I'll talk to the PS4 dev team. Now we're already kind of getting confirmation that these issues are going to be sorted out. So it's good that they're fixing these things, because back in the PS3 days, people complained, and then guess what? Nothing happened for months. It took how long to finally get DualShock 3s with Rumble in them, mind you. It's just like, it takes them forever. It took them forever to, you know, solve these issues. Now we're getting yeses, and we're hearing yous a lot faster. So that's good, but it still shows that Sony's still Sony, and Sony does a lot of dumb shit sometimes. So yeah, Sony still does a lot of really dumb stuff, but hey, PS4's coming. It's coming right around the corner, man. We're in the same month now, November 1st, so we're getting closer and closer. I'm obviously ready. PlayStation camera right here. Look at that. I'm not focused really, but there it is, the PlayStation camera. I'm picking up this shit now, so I just don't have to like pay for it later. Killzone Shadowfall. It's still wrapped, actually. Look at that. Again, I don't think I'm focused. And DualShock 4, like I mentioned in last week's episode. Look at that. We're getting PS4 stuff. Whoa, that light bar's yelling at me. Hold on. Whoa. Okay, I'll wait till November 15th. Gosh. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Benecki. Thank you so much for talking with me, and I'll see you guys next Friday.